tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Live it up, sweet emotion. Every time, every night, you and I on a roll. Switch it up, switch it up, switch it up where I'm going. Stay on the fly, just in time, know the right way to go. I'm on the road, it's my time, taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights, I've got to run this show. You always take me so high, you always make the highlights. I love the way we vibe, you're like a centerfold. Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Ooh, that sugar. All I want is satisfaction. Make a move, baby, you got nothing to lose. Give me that, give me that, give me that good reaction. Gonna make it right, little like an offer I can't refuse. I'm on the road, it's my time, taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights, I've got to run this show. You always take me so high, you always make the highlights. I love the way we vibe, you're like a centerfold. Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Ooh, that sugar sweet, ooh, that sugar Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Ooh, that sugar, just my kind of heat. Ooh, that sugar. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion. Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Live it up, sweet emotion. Every time, every night, you and I on a roll. Switch it up, switch it up, switch it up where I'm going. Stay on the fly, just in time, know the right way to go. I'm on the road, it's my time, taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights, I've got to run this show. You always take me so high, you always make the highlights. I love the way we vibe, you're like a centerfold. Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Ooh, that sugar. All I want is satisfaction.
Morning, morning, folks. Hope you are well. A little bit dark in my office today. I figured out that the batteries that I bought off Amazon were pretty crap batteries, which is why they're all basically dead. So I need to go and buy some proper Energizer ones. So that's why I'm a little bit darker. Anyway, hope everybody's well. Haven't seen you in a few days. Let me know how trading has been. I have had a few scans, but to be honest with you, very similar to last week. Bit of a difficult market for me. Again, still waiting for that real direction. which maybe we get sometime soon. So if I go through, morning Stephen, mate. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. Morning, hope you're well. Congrats on the scale, right? You scaled last week. Did I see that, or yesterday? On your StockNet account, right? I think you scaled. Anyway, let me know, because but anyway, congrats, well done. Good to see. Good to see. Okay, so this is my watch list today. It is, as you can see, pretty massive, huh? Dow Jones 30 is really the only one that I'm looking at, but I think it's interesting to look at where the market is, where the US is as well, the dollar, and we'll do that as well. Yesterday, all done, was a hard graft. So what are you on? What are you on now? Was that your first scale or second? Which account are you up to? I like you typing. I'll just continue on. Okay, let's start the index, shall we? Start the index. I know we had some negative data on Friday with NFP in terms of unemployment. However, always looking again, market's reaction to the news rather than the news itself. Now, from a technical standpoint, you know, we had a decent day yesterday, a little bit of rejection here from these highs. I would have liked a little bit more accumulation prior to a breakthrough. However, that's just for my personal trading strategy. It doesn't mean that I don't like where the index is. We could be potentially getting a wave here, possible an ABC. If we come back, ABC continuation. If I zoom in, I still don't mind where we are, you know, I have to say. The day yesterday, okay, we've had, in terms of a retest, I know I wouldn't even say this is impulsive to the downside that's making me worry about this area failing, of course, unless we get a different day today. But if we can get a slight push, you know, something like this, complex corrective within that 20, it would mean that recent trend is still, you know, still quite nice and healthy to the upside. I kind of like where the index is. So still slight risk on for me. Again, key area will be up here in terms of long-term continuation, where you're a bit more confident with the potential of that corrective we had all last year and a little bit of 21, continuing on to the upside from a long-term weekly perspective is still there. But if you're looking at it again, you're looking at it from a weekly, right? It doesn't. You know, if I'm saying this at the bottom of this larger corrective from this initial impulse, again, I know there's a lot of things that go into that, but put it down into simplistic nature is, you know, that would be valid because we've broken through that neckline, and we are pushing on. So yeah, I'm still bullish. I am still bullish for this year. Let's see how it continues. Decent week last week. Bit more volume coming in. As I said, the daily still looks good to me. We could have another a week here of a pullback, but at the moment, price action doesn't look good. Price action doesn't look bad, but I think my bias would be we continue within this corrective or this pullback back to this area. It could be that complex, could have a steady state. We could get essentially our price acceptance above this area. Let that 20 kind of catch up, as we've relatively done in previous times. You can see that here, that golden 20, before continuation to the upside. So SPX, the markets don't look too bad. Don't look too bad at all. So slight risk on for me. First scale started on the lowest, so this is only 2.6. Hey, it doesn't matter what it is. It's about the long-term thing. So you've got the buffer. Brilliant. Plan is if I scale this again, I'll invest in a large account and just trade copy. Okay, yeah. Excellent. Yeah. It's just, you know, it's amazing how quickly your position sizes goes up with that scaling system that they have is brilliant. You know, as I said, I started at $200 positions, and although I'm not on 3.5 now, I was on 3.5 at the start of the scale, which is, you know, in 10 months I think it was, is an unbelievable difference. And you know, a lot of people, although saying that, I know I'm in a drawdown, but a lot of people I probably couldn't here in Dubai, but live off 3-5 positions essentially, which is great. So you've done the hard part, right? Yeah, it's. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I had a small account as well, or should I say a smaller account? I know 10K is a big account, but you know, I was thinking about buying the 80, but as you know, same with you, I didn't have the trust in StockNet just yet. So yeah, I understand why you do it. But that's a good thing. I mean, even if for those individuals who don't have a lot of disposable income, buying those, I'm not saying that you don't, Stephen. This is just for others as well. What I mean is, you can buy a small account, the smallest one for what? I think it's 50 quid, right? I'm sure it's 50 quid for 12.50. Take your time, build it up, and then do exactly what you're doing there. Take off the money and buy a bigger account. So, you know, in terms of getting capital, there is the possibility to do that for as little as 50 quid, which is great. Anyway, SPX to the upside still for me looks good. I think this week we correct. I think we correct and then we go up. I'd like to see an ABC, which would be nice. But yeah, overall relatively bullish. Now, weekly, the dollar here is quite interesting. The dollar here is interesting because there's a few different ways you can look at it. Obviously, we had some not great data coming out of the US last week. Now, does that mean that the dollar continues its push? I don't think so just yet. There's no doubt that last week, as we probably thought, right, slight fake out to the downside, not quite ready, take away the fundamentals for me, is that if I'm taking that as a break, you know, or basically I'm not taking that as a break because of the impulsive nature going into that level, right? So that's where, if you look at, irrespective of this is dollar index, this could be EU, this could be NZD CAD or whatever it is. If I'm seeing movement like that, I'm never taking a break to the downside. Now, I understand it's the US index. However, it doesn't mean that I'm going to go and say, okay, buy the dollar up. It is a decent weekly. There is some volume coming in. It is a key level. I do think it continues up for a little bit. But in terms of a corrective, if you put a fib on here, just from a very basic standpoint, from the impulse or the movement, you know, you could see the dollar pull back to this 40-60 box in the fib before we continue on down. You know, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, which means a couple of weeks of pullback price action in that dollar. I wouldn't be surprised with that. So right now, I'm going to let the market tell me what it wants to do with the dollar. Because right now, it's telling me dollar pullback. Again, you could say, well, Ryan, it's coming from here. Is this just a pullback? Well, not really, because, you know, in terms of Dow theory, we've broken many anchors. So you can't really say this is pullback for continuation. I wouldn't. Certainly not with how this price action looks. Now, I'm going to contradict myself here and say, well, some people could look at this as one impulse, one pullback. Okay, some people could do. I wouldn't. I don't think it's the right way to do it. You know, personally, I wouldn't. But some people may. They'll say, well, from the recent trend up from here, right, from the start of this dollar move in March 2021, we pulled back 50% from this area. Again, I wouldn't do that, but some people would. So for me, yeah, I think dollar continues to pull back. I'm going to wait for that market from a daily or weekly perspective, certainly a longer term perspective, because there's certainly some strength going into this movement here. Slight fake out, and we push up. So yeah, I think we pull back and waiting for that market to tell me when to continue with sales into the dollar, if that indeed comes. Now, if we start to push up again and price action changes, then yeah, okay, I'll change my bias. It's fine. I don't mind that. Into a V reversal here, looking longs in dollars, perfect. But at the moment, it looks like pullback, continuation to the downside in dollar. But you just have to be a wee bit patient, because it could, you know, it could be a couple of weeks before we see some decent movement to the downside. That is my bias. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Again, it's just a game of opinions. It doesn't really matter in terms of trading, because trading, we talk about ROI, but it's always good to have a little bias. And analyzing the indexes does also kind of help with your technical analysis, I think, because you kind of learn from it as well. So the only thing that I'm looking at today is this Dow Jones. Now, I am umming and ahhing, right? Because this for me technically could be an entry. And this is where I think maybe discretion would have to be used, because for me, I'm looking at B wave, which is my favorite setup from an ABC corrective. Let me go back again. So we've got our A, just to make it a bit clearer, sorry. ABC corrective from this impulse here. We've created our first structure at B wave, second structure here, and we're in that steady state corrective back to that 20 where we've printed a hammer on that daily chart on Dow Jones, right? So rejection pushed up. Now the only issue with me is I always like to have increased volume. Now we don't have that, but in terms of a relative volume figure, we do, okay? So even though we don't have a green tick in volume, it is basically the same, right? We can pretty much agree on that. Now again, we go back to the weekly. You know, I kind of like where this is. You know, I like where the SPX is. You know, I like where these markets are in terms of the concept of RTM. Is it ready to move? And yes, for me, it's absolutely ready to move to the upside from a longer term wise, but also just because of where this is on the daily, I kind of like it. So what do I do in terms of this? Do I take a discretionary approach and say, this fits all my boxes? Okay, we've not got an increase in volume, but we basically have a relative increase in volume. So I'm gonna go back into it because it certainly is nice. You know, third structure, aggressive entry in here, slight gap to the upside, stop underneath for movement up. Again, at B wave, good corrective, you know, nice in here, re-reversal, back to that 20. It's all quite nice. So I'm going to go into that and I'll let you know in the Discord if I take it. But I'm presuming that I will, to be honest with you. Remember, I'm only on $1,000 positions because I'm just trying to get myself out of this drawdown. But I agree, I think the market's taking odd. All the retails that jumped and then try and continue to and now are stuck, yeah. Yeah. I think, but we did say, Martin, didn't we? We were talking again, just from the weekly kind of long-term perspective, that it does look a little bit like movement here is extended. And kind of similar to USD yen, right? So if we go to the USD yen weekly, again, this is why higher time frames are great. And it's funny how they all sometimes, you know, things like this happen when you get a decent movement to the downside, right, which has a slight pullback. I mean, here, okay, you've had a slight 3-week pullback, we push, again, slight pullback, push, and then we change direction. You know, but what we also have to be aware is, I mean, look at this movement from a weekly compared to, you know, the last couple of years. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I just think from my analysis point of view, in terms of that dollar index, is that it was looking okay, but the weekly was always, do we need something healthier? Do we need that pullback before we go short? And you could say, well, are retail going short here into those dollar pairs, getting stopped out before we kind of come down? Whether I'd like to say that or not, I'm not really too sure, but certainly for me, from a weekly perspective, keeping things simple, was I comfortable going short there on the dollar? Not 100%. Yeah, the daily started to look a little bit better. Okay, I know I said that. I don't want to say that I didn't say I don't mind dollar shorts, because it did get to the point where it was okay, but I always had a little bit of an issue before that weekly. So if we pushed down, I would have said okay, but again, I always had a little bit of an issue with that weekly. So that's my kind of thoughts on it. And it certainly had a good few days of bullish price action, right? But I could be wrong, Martin. I could be wrong. You know, we could end up coming up here. We could end up going here. We could end up doing this, but we don't know yet. This is why I think that now is a good point just to wait. Let the market tell us. You know, if we do get this in the next couple of weeks, hold on. If we do get this in the next couple of weeks, right, and then you get your bar like this up here, then I would be comfortable with any setups I get selling the dollar. Absolutely, I would. I could be wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong. We know that. If I get set up, again, this just adds confidence. It's not something that I have in my entry checklist, but again, just adds confidence to my trade. So let's see what that dollar does. But for me, the Dow Jones, you know, a lot of people are thinking short, a lot of retail thinking short. I kind of like going against retail. I like where it is. It's just whether I take that on technically a reduction in volume. However, it is a relative increase, you know. So that's my only thinking for today on this pair. Anything you guys are looking at before I head off? Now, in terms of simplicity, this is not going to make massive difference to you, but I think it's. I've got another meeting. We just had to cross a T yesterday, and Dot and I. So it should be launched tomorrow. For those in the Discord, once I do put the message out, you'll just have to register online, and all those that registers will stay in. Have to be very kind of business-like with it moving forward. But yeah, 3 years it's taken me. Can you believe that? 3 years since I started the whole process with RTFX, all the way to simplicity, that I've gotten to this point. And to be honest, it shouldn't have taken me that long, but same with trading. You live and you learn from your mistakes. I've made many. But yeah, it's nice to finally be in the position where we have everything we want. We have good, you know, structure-wise, it's good for moving forward. I would like to eventually do some stuff in, you know, with younger people in schools about financial literacy. But we're just basically structuring everything so we can get on from there. But exciting times. CAD yen, what are you looking at with CAD yen? Martin, you looking long, short? Weekly, you know, weekly are we in that pullback? Daily, decent day. 4 hour. I often see this in these conditions where I'm not trading a lot, is you get setups which are close to being setups, right? So kind of like, even though I wouldn't have taken this, but I mean, it's not bad price action that come down and then push through, you know. So you're getting pushes from deep, which I can't really take. So short on both, but that jump on Sunday, yeah. No, that's not Sunday. Oh, sorry, Sunday. Yeah, I'm thinking today's Monday. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so this jump here on Sunday evening for you, Monday morning for me. Yeah, okay, all right. Well, that's actually a decent start to the day. The market opens at 2 a.m. 2 a.m. Monday morning for me. Okay, I get you. You could look at that. It's hard to really think where this is going right now. Daily there's no doubt that recent price action is not bad for counter trend movement. We're still looking to be within that corrective on the weekly for movement to the downside. That would still have to be the ultimate bias. Pull back to that 20, continuation down possibly. I think that would be my bias from a higher time frame perspective. You know, we look at the hourly, we look at the 30. It's at the point where, I mean, if you're thinking short, again, depending on your plan, now this looks here, that's obviously unsustainable price action. You know, you get some loss of momentum up here. I don't know whether you trade that, but you know, something like that wouldn't be that bad. I wouldn't mind that entry. But then you look at the daily and you think, it doesn't have to fall. It doesn't have to fall from there. You know, some people will look at it as this breaking out of here, right? Breaking out of this structure. Usually with these breaks of channels, you like to see a little bit of consolidation before it pushes, and that's exactly what you've got here. And this day is good. You know, this day is good. But then your overall trend is down. So it's one I'm going to have to sit firmly on the couch. On the fence with, I think, for me, CAD yen. You know, just have to, again, similar to the dollar index, just have to let the market tell me what it wants to do. 15-minute CAD yen. Short, I presume. Here. Yeah, I can see what you're looking at there, Silver. You know, I wouldn't be going long, put it that way. I wouldn't be going long. Yes, this is where you're looking, right? I can see it here. Right? I think that's what you're looking at. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't like it long. You could see another push with your loss of momentum. They normally come in threes. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, maybe. But it's a difficult chart, guys. I'm not gonna say you could be right, Silver. You know, it's a difficult chart to fill the gap. Yeah. Try to a little bit here. Try to a little bit. Yeah, you could be right, Silver. Absolutely. You could be absolutely right. Just hard for me to analyze that, CAD yen. I would be staying. I would just personally be staying well away from it at the moment. Aussie dollar. Again, same with Aussie dollar. If we're doing what we think with the dollar index and you get that pullback, you could have some great entries into the Aussie dollar long here. Right, nice V reversal. Really nice V reversal. Your outside bearish engulfer here on that 200, but we're seeing that, you know, collaborate with the dollar index. But we've also had a good move to the upside. So again, just from a technical perspective, you don't want this to break. You know, you look at these, you know, it's tried to break to the upside, which I presume on smaller time frames people are taking Aussie dollar long. Just not quite ready for me. You know, let it have a little patience, let it pull back. You could look at, I could look at an aggressive entry on a weekly here for movement to the upside, in which case your risk reward should be quite good. If it happens, I will certainly look at taking Aussie dollar long, but it's got a pull back a little bit for me personally. Setup looks nice, price action's good. Yeah, okay, we've had some movement down with that dollar strength, but what we're also forgetting is we've had weeks and weeks of a push to the upside in Aussie dollar longs, right? Things can't go up or down forever. We need that pullback. Doesn't mean I change my whole bias. So weekly, this, and I will put this on my watch list. Not right now, but probably in a week or two. If we do come down and pull back, if we can get something nice in here, what an entry that would be on Aussie dollar for me. Ready to move? Yeah, absolutely. Making the first trade of this challenge an absolute masterpiece. Yeah. That's a good idea, right? Time is our friend, impulse is our enemy. And it's you know, these markets will go, and it's not going to be here forever. If we can get good price action here in the S&P, and we get some push on, some confidence from investors, market will turn for the better. We'll see some follow through, and that's where that's where I make my bloody money. So yeah, waiting for that next trade. Make sure it's a winner. I have to do the same thing, Martin. I've got to make sure that next trade I take is something although I'm always confident in the trades I'm take, but certainly this next couple of trades are important for me because I don't want to lose this bloody account. So yeah, I'm certainly not trading in this environment until I see something I like and confident with. But I also like this Dow Jones. I also like this setup. I do. So I'm going to go back and look at it. Right, guys. If there's not anything else, let me know if there's anything else. Any other questions? I will start, if we launch tomorrow, what I'm also looking forward to is, I've got, like I said to you, I've got loads of content that I've recorded. I'm going to start doing a lot more YouTube videos. I'm motivated to do that. So hopefully that all gets started tomorrow. Nothing else? That's 30 minutes. That's normally the time that I stay on for. I'll love you and leave you. Thanks for coming as always. And if you don't like the video, gotta start saying that, like the video. And start growing my YouTube. I'll let you know if I trade anything, but if not, trade safe. Congrats, Stephen, again on that scale. Hardest scale is the first one. Always like to see people doing well. And I'll see you all again tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. Trade safe. Peace.